Hello, everyone, and welcome to Conscious Conversations. I am Mike, and we are in for a treat today, guys. My guest is going to be joining me here shortly, and I just wanted to take this moment to say Happy Halloween, Happy Samhain, and we are going to be sharing insights and wisdom from our souls, as well as breaking down a human design chart live so that you can see what it looks like and how you can apply it to your business. This human design reading, we're going to focus on branding and the different elements that provide us energy for our brand and our business. Super fascinating, guys. Let's get started. So script share, I'm going to share the screen here. All right. This is so cool, guys. I love human design, and I love the fact that it makes it so easy to be able to understand our own energy and the things that will give us energy versus the things that will drain our energy. And who's with me here? Who has went to their website as a spiritual business owner or their social medias or any marketing thing and just like, oh, this feels so draining right now, or I don't know what colors to use. Hi, Miss Katrina, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
I can.
All right.
Yeah, and welcome. You are sideways.
Yes. Do you want me this way?
No, whichever way you are, I was just letting you know. It don't matter to me.
Whatever is best for you.
This works.
Okay.
So welcome, and thank you so much for joining us on Conscious Conversations.
Yes, and thank you for being flexible with me. I had a beautiful conversation that ended up happening at the park this morning that I wasn't planning, and I hate rushing those things. I just like to, this is the moment. So I'm like, oh, hopefully it'll be okay for Mike. So thank you.
You are very welcome, and I love those conversations, so never have to worry about that. And I totally agree. I don't like rushing those, and I've always felt like those type of conversations you can't really rush.
No, you can't. And I knew that you were similar in heart that way. So I felt like I can just embrace this moment and trust it'll all come together perfectly as it needs to.
Exactly. Divine timing, which is actually part of your chart.
Oh,
So
I can't wait. I'm very excited.
Yes. So before we dive into this, Katrina, why don't you share with us and the audience who you are and what do you do?
Okay. Well, I am Katrina Jones, and I am currently for the next week and a half in Gulf Shores, Alabama. My husband and I sold our house and gave away all of our stuff, and we got a fifth wheel. We've never camped before, but we decided to hit the road and just follow our hearts, pursuing what we love to do and where we want to be in the most inspiring places. And so I am currently building out a online business through doing Instagram Live and personal coaching. But honestly, I realized this morning, if I just sum it up, I am just having divine conversations, whether it's online or one-to-one, just having beautiful, life-filled divine conversations. And I'm building a business around that. So that's what I'm doing. And I have 4 adult children, 2 of which are married, and I have 3 beautiful grandchildren back in Nashville, Tennessee, which is kind of where you could say our home base is. We don't have a home anymore, but that's where children are. So we go back there to be with them.
I love that. And I always say my kids go with their mom in the summertime. So they're in Iowa. And I always say my heart, my home is wherever they are.
Yeah.
So I love that. It's beautiful. And thank you for sharing. And
yes. Well, I have a saying about home. Well, what came up when we were, selling that, I don't really have a ton of attachments to a house, but my husband was struggling with it a little bit. And He's like, well, we're going to be homeless. And I'm like, you're never homeless, because home is wherever you are, because home is contained within you. And so it doesn't matter where we are, we're home, because home is within us. So he's like, oh, he's like, that's not what I wanted to hear, but he's like, that makes sense. So that's kind of my philosophy. My thing is that home is us. And so wherever and this kind of came to me because as a little girl, and maybe this will tie in with some of the stuff that you're going to share with me about myself, but even as a little girl, I was able to make a cozy, homey space wherever I was. If it was in the closet or under my bed or at camp, when I loved going to camp. We had this incredible camp out in Lake Erie. Since you're from Michigan, down around Sandusky, and we got to take the ferry boat over to this camp, and we spent a week. I loved camp. And I packed in February to go to camp in June. But the things that I packed, I never took a sleeping bag. I always took sheets and a blanket and little knickknacks. And when I got to my little cabin and my little bed, I made up a little cozy space right there. And I've always had this ability, even throughout, I've been married almost 35 years. And, there was a lot of years we didn't have two dimes to rub together. And I remember even when we first ran off and eloped, we didn't have furniture. We had a box for a table and some lawn chairs, but I was still able to create this homey feeling, like I would make it pretty with whatever I had. I could make something out of nothing and make it feel very homey. And I've always had that wherever I am. And, it kind of just came to me, like I said, about a year ago that, home is within us. We're all returning home to ourselves. And so, home is wherever you are.
Exactly. And I love that. That really resonates with me because I'll catch myself sometimes saying, I want to go home. And I'll
Yeah.
be standing inside my physical house.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I need to check in with myself.
You are home.
Right.
And it's just a shift in perspective. It's shift in thinking when like you said, you caught yourself and you're like, okay, home has nothing to do with the physical surrounding. I'm home. And just reminding yourself of those truths, it's instantly you're aligned.
Yes, I love that. And
Mm-hmm.
that is so powerful, guys, because when you're in alignment like that, your energy is freely flowing and the intuition is right there.
Mm-hmm.
Keep your not self or the bullshit out of the way.
Yeah.
It's flowing. And I love that we're talking about home because that really is a big part of your chart.
Oh, cool. Well, I just knew it would be. We've had too many synchronicities in the last 2 days for it not to be, so.
Absolutely. And guys, yesterday I was on Divine Conversations with Katrina. So on her Instagram, when we're done, I'll share the direct link. But go check it out. It was a fantastic conversation.
It was. I was re-listening to it today, and I'm actually doing some editing, and I also posted on YouTube because that's always an easier place for people to play back a long form video. So I will get that posted today on YouTube, and it's the same handle for me, Simple Raw Consciousness, either way. But it is posted in my Instagram, but it will be posted to YouTube.
Awesome. Love
Yeah.
that.
And I'll send you the link too, so you have it and you can convert it and use that video for yourself in your platforms as well.
Thank you. And I will do the same with this for you.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, because I would love to be able to share this with my audience as well.
Oh, yeah.
And that will help you and help me. So we get to help each other.
Which is your profile. Your profile. So in human design, when we look at the profile, we're looking at the mask or the energy the coat that we're wearing in this lifetime.
Okay.
So your profile is that of the opportunistic role model. So during your younger life, you learned how to spot opportunities. And going through those experiences, you're able to now, as moving into the later part of the life, come into the role model where you can help share and point out those opportunities to others, which is a big part of what lights you up. And I noticed when we were talking about just the different things that we could do And after our conversation yesterday, guys, we ended up having a private chat with another friend of ours where we kind of meshed all of this different things together and
Mm.
created so many different opportunities for all of us.
It was incredible.
It was like,
We had 4 hours of just incredible. It was
yeah,
incredible. I wish that for everybody.
all the time.
So, yes, it was incredible.
As the role model, now you're able, hey, here's an opportunity. Now I'm going to take this opportunity and we're going to see where it applies not only to my life, but my network as well.
Hmm.
In the opportunity, so the 4-6 is your profile, breaking down the
Okay.
lines. And what that means is you're a natural networker. You love
Yeah.
to talk and network with people.
Yes, I do. And yes, which is why I was late to this conversation, right?
Right. So when I got that text, I'm like, yep, no problem. You're
Yeah.
good. You're good. Love that.
Uh,
And I love too how, because I kind of got the intuitive hit that that needed to happen to help make this clearer for you.
mm,
And now, so that's a prime example that's fresh in your mind. That was the opportunity, and you seized it. And then through that conversation, through seizing an opportunity, you, I'm sure, shared some great insights with that person.
I
That,
did, and it was so beautiful because he actually approached me and his name was Michael, believe it or not. Michael Broussard. He's the Ragin' Cajun realtor in this area. Really nice man. And I was at the park and I was doing my exercises, which is, I mean, I just do this flow to music that whatever feels good for my body. And he was very fascinated because it's kind of a combination of yoga and qigong and all my dabblings in so many different things, like animal moves and that kind of thing, and childlike stuff. And he was fascinated by it. And he's like, he started the conversation, but we ended up talking for probably 40 minutes. And it was really cool because I did get to encourage him because, when people start a conversation and they see you exercising, um, a lot of people will start the story of, well, as you get older, you can't move as well and this and that. And I just don't believe that at all. And so finding a delicate way to challenge that thought, it just flowed very easily and he received it. I said, I understand what you're saying. I said, but I know a lot of people in their 80s and their 90s and beyond that are still doing all of these things. And if there's an exception, then it can't be a rule. And he goes, And I said, maybe it's because we just stop doing these things. We stop moving like children. We stop being like children. And anyways, we wound up having a really incredible conversation. So yes, I did get to share some meaningful, deeper truths with him. And and he had some too. I mean, like he was a great receiver and was able to, I've had some of those conversations with people that you can tell it's just like they don't get it.
right.
His heart was very open. So I did feel like it was a very divinely orchestrated moment.
Love that. And that is so your aura.
It is. It is.
I love
And
that.
I've just, what? I think I finally owned it in the last year. I've just finally owned it fully.
So much. So, guys, Katrina is an emotional generator. And a generator, the way that aura works is that our aura is open. I'm a generator myself. So our aura is open and we invite experiences into us. So like in this example, when you were doing your exercise and in that flow state, your aura was way open and that gentleman picked it up.
Mm-hmm.
And that drew your energies together so that you could both have that energetic exchange through the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And as you could say, you connected to heart, you could feel the truth of the heart there.
Yeah.
So that right there is your open center. So in your
Mm.
divine, you have an open heart center. And what that means is our open center is where we take in energy from the outside world. And guys, Katrina is very heart centered. Every time I have talked to her, whether it's on a stream like this or just even in chat, I can feel her heart in her words, which is very beautiful. Thank you for that, by the way.
No, thank you for saying that. I feel that. And, and I feel that, again, the more I have come to know who I really am and owned these things that you're sharing are so on target, the more I've just let that flow through without apology. And then the more it comes.
Exactly. And one of the biggest things for us, or in our not self theme or our bullshit theme, is not judging ourselves. It's like
Mm-hmm.
when I catch myself judging myself, I get very frustrated.
Mm-hmm.
My best guess is you do too, because that's your
Yeah.
thing.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, that is amazing. So in this, what this means, guys, is when we're using our energy, and we use our energy for everything. No, whatever we do, we're using energy. So if that task or thing and thought and emotion that we're engaging in makes us feel frustrated, that means we're not using our energy correctly. And all we have to do is stop in that moment and redirect our thoughts and our emotions. And that means that our thought and emotion are not aligned.
Mm.
Our thought, we realign it with our emotion, and our satisfaction comes through.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. So you like to build networks.
I
And
do. I love it. I absolutely do love it. I think this is so cool that this is part of my profile.
in that network building, you infuse it with all of the love of your heart.
Mm.
So that tells me two very important things about you. One, thank you for going whatever bullshit you went through that helped you understand this. Thank you for owning it and going through it. And two, you when you push that energy out of your heart center, it is clear. Like there's no filter of BS in front of it. And you do that very well, especially like because sometimes I struggle with that a little bit. And just being around you helps me to get the mental framework of how you do that. Just being
Mm.
sharing this conversations like this, it's very beautiful. And as you went through this process during your, maiden, mother, and crone stage, during the maiden, went through all of that. During the mother stage, you went through different things, but you realized at that stage of how your maiden stage helped you prepare for this.
Mm-hmm.
And then now as the crone stage, you realized how the maiden or the mother stage helped you prepare for this.
Mm.
And all of this wisdom is what you're able to give us now.
Yeah.
And that is beautiful. So as you bring that wisdom from your soul and allow that to shine, you naturally have an inclination of, hey, these people over here need to be connected together. These ones
Mm.
over here need to be connected together. And as you do that, you build a phenomenal network. And being able to network like that is A, great for business, one, and B, the amount of awareness that you help create for the collective is super phenomenal. Take for
Mm.
that your conversation this morning. You gave that man a great amount of awareness. You both did. You gave each other.
Mm.
Now he's going to take that and unknowingly and well, I don't want to say unconsciously, but he's going to share that with others. And so
Yeah.
that leads me to your open head center. So in your head center, it can either be a place where you take on the mental pressure of other people, especially if you're close to them, so like husband, kids, brothers, sisters,
Mm.
siblings, if you want to try and solve their problems for them.
Yeah.
When you catch yourself doing that, simply realign because that's the BS self right there.
Mm-hmm.
Because
I
those are
went through many years of that. And I would say most of the time I don't feel that responsibility anymore. Like I've completely detached from that thought. But it took many, many, many years of definitely out of like love and compassion wanting to solve other people's problems for them. I understand now this is their story. These are their experiences that they've chosen to have. And I need to allow them the space to do that and just hold that space in love without feeling like I had to fix a situation or like I went through that with years with my husband, and when I stopped trying to fix him and just focused on myself, it's amazing how then he was free to learn the lessons he needed to and then be free himself. And like, it's just so much easier.
I love that.
Oh.
And in that, there is so much truth and wisdom. So that is your natural inclination. So in a way, you're only two open centers of your head and your heart. So having cleared that not self or that BS out of there allows
Mm-hmm.
you to be able to consciously move your energy out through those centers to connect to the world, as well as realize when you're drawing in. So you have developed a great skill at realizing what is yours and what is not,
Mm-hmm.
which is the whole point or the whole wisdom of having an open head center.
Mm.
And one of the things that fuel your open head center is inspiration.
Mm.
So when you're looking, you're like, I don't know what to do. I'm in my head a little bit. Look for things that truly inspire you. And when you do, you will not only feel it in your head, you'll feel it in your heart.
Mm. That's so powerful because I literally have just kind of stumbled on this idea even in just the last couple days. You know how you said yesterday when we were having our divine conversation, you talked about how that day that you thought you should be doing this, and this, but you found yourself playing with and making that sphere that you were working on.
Yeah,
And that brought so much joy in life and all the things to you. And one thing I've been learning and in the process of learning is that, like you said, if I get stuck in my head and I'm not feeling that inspiration to, like, this is why it's so fundamental for, I feel like for everybody, but I personally have learned this through experience, like how important it is in every single moment of your day to follow your divine curiosity, follow what we've talked about is intuition. Follow what is feeding your heart in that moment and whatever it is, and don't judge it because you think you should be doing something else. I did this when I was a housekeeper and household manager for some really great clients. I recognize this in myself that I clean very organically. Like I can be very systematic where I come in and I'm like, I start here and I work my way around. But for the most part, if I come in with a great energy, I go to wherever I feel really drawn and I just start. And then while I'm doing something else, I might see something else that needs to be done. And I do that instead of going. And for a long time, I judged that. I was like, oh, I'm so scattered if someone saw me, but I'm very efficient that way. So it might look kind of chaotic. And I had a beautiful friend, a very heart-centered friend she called it organic cleaning or organic in whatever we're doing. We follow where the spark of energy is and you let go of I should be doing the thing on my list and stick to the list where the list could be crippling you. Go where the energy is, go where the spark is. And I did that in cleaning and I learned to embrace it and not judge it. And I'm realizing that now, even as I'm working on a business, kind of thing, to just do what I love, where the energy is. And if it's not in one thing that I think I should be doing that day that's on my list, then just move to the thing that is. So like I had the other day, for example, where I had this list of things that I felt like I should get to, that I needed to check off. And I'm like, but I was stuck. I was definitely feeling kind of what you're talking about. And I thought, well, just do what brings me joy right now. And what brought me joy and fun was actually editing a video and creating and that kind of thing. And I just let myself do that, get lost in it, have fun with it. And it's amazing when you do that, suddenly, without even trying, the things that were on your list get taken care of so easily.
that's what I was going
So
to ask you.
yeah, and then it all gets taken care of. And I actually journaled about this yesterday. It's like magic
Yeah,
with a CK. It's like magic. It's okay to let go of the list. You can, what I found is it's great to write out the list of what maybe the vision of what I feel like needs to get accomplished, but then let it go and go where the energy is, go where the excitement is. And at the end, and maybe it won't be of that day, maybe it'll be the end of the week, all the things that were most important to see the vision come to pass were done. And they were done in an energetic, fun way instead of a draining, exasperated, frustrated way.
Beautiful. And guys, that is super important because when you're putting content out, especially for a business, you want that energy to attract your
Mm-hmm.
clients. And if you're putting out frustrated energy, my people
Mm-hmm.
are already frustrated. They don't need any more of it. So that's going
Yeah.
to be hell. And as generators, when our auras are frustrated, we close them off. So when you're feeling frustrated, do you feel really closed off, like you're not connected?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
And for a generator, that is very detrimental to the health.
Mm-hmm.
In that close offness, we don't feel the energy circulating through our body. And as that energy circulates, like you were saying, when you'd go into that space and you would just flow with that energy, not only was it giving you the energy to do the task, it was also supplying energy to your organs, to your body, and
Mm.
you. So you were
Mm.
flowing with vitality.
Oh, that's beautiful. I hadn't even thought about that.
And as a generator, we have the sacral response. So the sacral, when that energy comes up, it is all about vitality, which is what makes our energy so attractive to other people. So like when you were in the flow state and that dude Michael came up, he felt the vitality you were generating, and he wanted
Mm.
that. And being a real estate, I'm sure that can be a very stressful job. So I'm sure you
Yeah.
need some vitality,
Yes, yes.
and we share that with the world as we're doing whatever engages that we're happy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so happy that you brought that up because I do the same thing with the tasks. I got a list of all the things I should get done or whatever. And when I look at that from a perspective of, yeah, this is what I should do. Now, what's fun?
Mm-hmm.
Routine, the word routine, I don't like that word. But if you tell me it's a ceremony, I'm all over that. It lights me
Yeah.
right up. So in that flow state, we are dancing with life. And that's what a ceremony is. It's a dance with life.
Mm.
And as you move that in and around, that sound you just made, that is your sacral response. And that tells me that this is hitting with your intuition. Beautiful. Oh, love it.
It is. Ah, I love it.
Now, you have a small split definition in your chart. So what that means is we never lack energy, and we always have access to any energy that we want. Now, how we get access or how we utilize that access depends on our split.
Okay.
So yours means you are looking for ways to connect and find inspiration. So you are naturally drawn to the people and circumstances and environments that inspire you. So like for your husband, for example, every time you have talk about him, I can feel your heart light up. It's like I can
Mm.
see your heart inside, it smiles. And that tells me,
He is the delight of my heart.
love that. That's so beautiful. I'm so happy for you guys.
Mhm.
It also tells me he inspires you a lot.
He does. He does. We inspire each other.
Hmm. And that is a
But we've
beautiful.
been through a lot of shit too. It took us a while to appreciate those things in each other.
And that right there is how you guys bridged that split. So my guess is that he's going to have the opposite split in his. So
Mm-hmm.
what that happens when two people have those splits and come together, they form the bridge in each other. So the energy
Mm.
can really flow without resistance, which is amazing. I love that. And then your incarnation cross. So we're all born into this lifetime with a cross to bear, our challenge that we can use to progress or evolve or I don't know what enlighten our own consciousness. And as we enlighten ourselves, we enlighten the collective. So you're always about new insights and understanding. You want to understand, and then you want to share those understandings and insights with the world, with the collective, which is
Mm.
exactly what you're doing with divine conversations.
Yeah.
So
Well,
in
it's what I mean, literally, my curiosity has been driving me my whole adult life.
on that.
Which is why when we were having that conversation yesterday, you're talking about Saint Germain and you're talking about alchemy and all these, I'm like, yep, yep. Because I'm just following that curiosity and it's led me down so many beautiful paths that I've collected little nuggets from, that I put in my little my little fairy pouch, and I carry along with me. And then I share them with people when I'm about it, as I see fit.
It's like you're sprinkling fairy dust.
I am. That's why I said I'm Tinkerbell. I've totally owned it. I'm Tinkerbell.
Love that. And in that, so you have a knack of taking things and then explaining them in a way that helps other people understand them.
Yes,
And
childlike and simple, which is, why that whole thing came to me for the name of my channel. That's my North Star, is like, that's how I came to phase 2, is just like what really leaped at me was the simplicity and the childlikeness of it. And, one of the things that I share on my channel a lot is, and you'll appreciate this because you were sharing a lot of biblical references yesterday, but, Jesus was always talking about the kingdom of heaven. Like all his talks were about the kingdom of heaven, and the realization, he kept saying the kingdom of heaven is here. It's now. It's within you. But you only access it and manifest it as you become like a little child. And this is the deepest esoteric wisdom that there could ever be. You could sit with this your entire life. Like, heaven is here and now, just like hell is here and now. We contain both by the choices and the understanding we have. But when we realize that it's not something afar off, it's right here, right now. And the key to the kingdom is becoming childlike and realizing. So that's kind of my North Star with anything that I'm observing or being drawn to, is like the simplicity. It doesn't mean it can't be complex, like what we were talking about yesterday. Right. But if it's complicated, that's when I kind of step back. So the simplicity of anything. And what I realize is, as you're speaking this is exactly my gift, is to be able to listen to maybe I'm going to be digging through all maybe the complicated stuff. And then what I come away with is going to be very simple to understand, because that's how I understand things. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so then I'm able to relay that to other people in a very childlike, simple way. And that's my gift.
You're absolutely right. I love that. And I love that you've already discovered this and embodied it so well. That is amazing.
Well, it's been a while. I mean, I've been on the planet a little while. So it's been a lot of trial and error. And yeah, I think that's what's so beautiful. Mandy and Sam call this phase 1, phase 2. It's funny. I feel like I've had that in my life too. And even Barry and I, we have a YouTube channel where we're sharing our story currently, and then also looking back, and it's called Barry and Katrina. And he doesn't know anything really about phase 1 or phase 2. He's not involved in that community, but it's funny. He kind of on his own coined a similar phrase. Like he jokingly called it the dispensations, like dispensation 1 and dispensation 2 of our life. And it really felt like when we made the choice to sell our house, and how all that came about, it was just absolutely synchronous. And it's just an incredible story how it all came about. And, but while we were going through that process, and literally it sold in 3 days, from signing of the contract to walking out the door was 45 days, but there was no feeling at any point of feeling rushed. It was just a flow we were in. And I felt like we had time to savor the process and savor the experience from 1 week to the next as we slowly let go of our things. But I say all that to say we both felt it so strongly that it was like a season was complete. A whole season of our life, of the learning of all of these lessons, and it was complete. And that's why I felt such a strong inclination that we couldn't take anything with us from the past. Like the past was over and done. And so that's why we sold everything. We got rid of everything. We gave to our children. Even got a few new dishes. Like I didn't even take the dishes. I didn't take the towel, like everything, we just started fresh, because there was just this spiritual feeling that we were starting fresh and new, and that we were literally coming through the birth canal for a whole new dispensation, phase 2 of our journey together and individually, and how we were going to show up in the world and serve, and all of that. And it's just there's no words for it. It's just feelings. It's just totally feelings and experiences. But definitely, it's so incredible to be alive in this moment, comfortable in your skin, knowing who you are, so many questions answered. And so, what's beautiful is you sharing all of these things. I mean, this is 1000%, everything you've said is exactly what I've come to on my own. And this is just bringing confirmation and even greater clarity.
Love that. And guys, real quick to interject, the um, group we're talking about is our phase 2 group for quantum wealth networking.
Mm-hmm.
If you want someone to help you with this that will bust you out of your loops, go talk to the man Andre Pickens and Sam Rossi and Mandy Little.
Mm-hmm.
Those 3 people right there will change your life in ways you are not even
Mm-hmm. And
conceiving.
it's so simple and easy.
Love it. Much love for those 3 people.
Yes.
And that is also where I met Katrina. Much love for this.
Yes. The quantum networking was instant, it's just incredible. It's such a beautiful community, and we're really connecting and building relationships together. I've been in a lot of communities before, and they were wonderful for different purposes, but I can't say that I ever felt such an instant connection and encouragement, like for us to network together and get to know each other outside of that community and foster these ways that we're serving one another and relationships. I just encourage everyone to go check it out. Phase 2, just check out Sam Rossi on Instagram, because Andre's not on anything. He uses Sam as kind of the vocal person, and Mandy's no longer doing the social media. She's focusing completely on the community. So Sam Rossi would be the go-to, and then she has the links to actually be a part of the community, and you can listen to what she's sharing. But it's so simple. It's so simple.
And that brings us to your channels. So when we look at our channels in our chart, we have this energy come in, and then we have this go through our different channels, and each channel has a unique flavor or unique lens that influences that energy. So you have the channel of exploration. So you love to express your personal identity through your committed action. So when you say, "Yep, I'm going to be here," that's your identity. You're going to show up. Your actions and your words are going to match.
Mm.
So how that energetic wise, what that is doing is aligning your mind and your emotions together, which is very powerful and very awesome. And that leaves or segues into the perfected form, which is the intuitive awareness that is tied to your self-preservation. Now, this tells me too that whatever bullshit you went through, one of the lessons you had to learn was how to preserve yourself.
Mm.
And in that, you learned how to use your awareness, because those lessons are what taught you, hey, there really is something here. It's what made it real to the ego realize it. So
Mm-hmm.
that two could be connected and become one, which is beautiful. And you love the patterns. You love recognizing patterns and making them better.
Mm.
And it doesn't matter whether it's a home, a business, electronic, whatever. You see the pattern, you're like, this would be a little bit better if it did this. It'd be a little bit more flowy. And that is one of your gifts, and a
Mm.
very powerful one that you could use for your business to really help your clients with any aspect, not just the intuitive, mental, and emotional aspect, but the practicalities of it too. So that's super beautiful. And the channel of synthesis. is bringing that energy to create social agreements and foster tribal support. So
Mm.
this channel is all about the tribe and how you can use your energy to support the tribe, which is what you're doing, everything that you've done right now. And us sharing about the quantum network, the phase 2 community, well, that's our tribe, and that's how we're helping support it.
Mm.
That is beautiful. I have the same channel. Love it. And you have a gift for sharing innovative ideas and insights. So, and bringing clarity to complex topics. So, anytime actually thinking this, one of the cool experiment to do would be to poll your network and ask your audience what complex topics are they having a hard time understanding,
Mm.
and then taking that, finding one that lights you up, and then diving deep into it. That'd be a great way and some great content.
Ooh.
So that would be really cool. And then your channel for transformation, your ambitious, your potential for material success. You do like the material success, but you also
Yes.
don't like, or I want to say don't like, you're not willing to jeopardize your values for it.
Mm.
So it is, let me, heart-centered material success. I like that, which is what you're
Yeah,
all
and I
about.
think that's like a whole journey of even coming to, of, you know, the phase 1 ideas. I, for many years stayed in more of a poverty mentality. That was kind of what I was raised in because, in my innocent heart that wants to love and serve people, you're kind of taught that you can't do that, that money is evil and having the desire to have things is evil. And, I really had to come to the realization, because the truth is, as long as we stay in that mentality, we'll never know our full self. We'll never be in alignment with our full true self
Yeah.
because it's lopsided. Because the truth is, we are abundance. It's not something outside of us. And so to deny that material wealth and abundance and experience, all the things that we think of in relationship to that, is to literally be denying yourself. And so you're literally walking through this planet denying a part of yourself because you were told it was unworthy. And so to come to the place where you realize it's this whole money game isn't what we've been taught. It's truly an aspect of who I am. And so to embrace it, to appreciate it, to love it, to express it, to not apologize for it. And yes, that is exactly where I have come to, is understanding that I am abundance. There is no number to what I am because I am that divine expression of God. And can we put a number on God? I mean, we know from like the scriptures, we talk about what we perceive heaven to be. We're talking about streets paved with gold and mansions and, all the things that we have deemed to be heaven someday after we die. Think about that now we understand that heaven is here and now, and it's all within us. So maybe the picture that was always trying to show us is that, can you imagine that your driveway is paved with gold? Your house is built with jewels and you think about the pearly gates and all of these things. We've attributed it to something far off, far away, after we die, whatever. But all that's within us. So it was always showing us the wealth is, we don't have to have either or. It was always meant to be one. And when we step into that, it's kind of like I always get this picture of a slot machine, like in Vegas. When you get aligned, you pull the slot machine and all the little cherries line up and then all the stuff flows out.
I
That's
love
really
that.
what, yeah, it's such a great picture that
Yeah.
it speaks to me, and I think probably helps other people understand it too. Really, all these
Help me.
experiences that we're having throughout our life are all leading us, like you think about, you get one cherry in line. It's like, okay, I now understand this aspect of myself, and now I understand this one, and now I understand, and now there's that oneness, right? It's all lined up, and you pull it, and then boom, it all flows. It was always there. It's not something we earn. It's not something we deserve. It's not something we have to try hard for. It's who and what we are. So
Amen.
to deny our wealth, to deny the desire for those things, it's a holy desire. It's like a cosmic carrot put in front of us on purpose that will keep leading us forward. And we always want to, think that that's something bad. No, it's a holy desire within us that helps keep pulling us forward. For that curiosity keeps pulling us towards it, because there's something there for us. And so anyways, that's kind of where I'm at with all of that. So I've come to own it all.
I want to share this book with you. Give me one quick second.
Okay.
This is a great book about money mindset and wealth. It's called Happy Pocket Full of Money. And in here, the author talks exactly about the energetics of money. And the whole book, through this whole thing, there are affirmations that says, I am wealth, I am abundant, I am joy. And what really made that click with this conversation is I read this book 2 years ago. I could not feel that when I said that
Mm.
statement in my body. That's how cut off from my own desire I was.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't until being part of the group and really just a few weeks ago that I really allowed myself to get out of my own way and feel that desire
Mm.
in my body. I allowed that. And I'm like, oh, holy crap, shit, this is what it feels like. So that was my conditioning from my open centers. Well, thank
Mm.
you for sharing all of that, Katrina. That was
Yeah.
really,
Well, that's just what flowed out. So it's obviously what you wanted. You created me to say that to you and for everybody here. And you know what? And the beautiful thing is I'm saying that to you, I get to feel it all over again, even deeper.
right.
So like we're
And,
blessing each other. That's what I love about these conversations, because they we don't have to plan it. We just open up this space for it, and as we just keep bouncing off of each other, whatever needs to come up comes up. And
and in that,
it's so it's so cool.
and in
It's
that,
so
that is,
fun.
it is a lot of fun. And that's
You know,
exactly
I
what
not to
it,
keep interrupting you, I just have to say one more thing about the fun. One of the other things I call my workshops, and I call the word that came to me was sacred playground. That I'm inviting people into my sacred playground to play,
I love that.
because that is what we are all here to do. And it's in the greatest transformations and revelations come through play. Children learn through play. They don't learn in a classroom. They learn through discovery and play. And we are all children.
Yes.
So inviting people into my sacred playground, and let's play together, because through that play, we have incredible epiphanies.
Exactly. And this is exactly what we're doing right now. Like this is fun. This is play to me.
Oh,
And
me too.
doing this, we're open, our energy's flowing, and our auras, right, is a perfect example of auras feeding each other that are balanced. So as we're keep feeding, perpetuating that balance, we can keep climbing higher and higher, or the realizations become clearer and clearer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Love that.
And
So
this is how it was always intended to be.
yes,
This is how it was always intended to be. We almost feel like we have to feel guilty or shame for not like being miserable
right.
and working hard and straining and striving. I mean, but that's not how it was. we can do that. We can absolutely do that. That's your choice. Maybe that's the experience that people want to have at this point, but just know it doesn't have to be that way.
It is okay to give yourself permission to have fun and enjoy
Yes.
what you're engaging in.
Yes, absolutely.
And if you were to take, and anyone to do this, just take a few moments and allow yourself to actually experience joy. Whatever it is that you're doing,
Mm-hmm.
just give yourself permission to make it fun. And if
Yeah.
it doesn't, that's it. That's all we have.
Yep.
It's really that simple.
And you can do this even like if people find themselves. I found this question that popped up for me when I was still, before we sold our house in the last 4 years. I've had this cleaning business, if you will, with some very high end clients. I was a household manager. I got to clean with essential oils and just bring my light into their home. And all of my clients were always home when I cleaned because they wanted to have these divine conversations. Like, so what I was doing was already this. I was just using the cleaning as an excuse to hide behind. But and it was very, very fulfilling for the first couple of years that I fell ass backwards into it. I was paid ridiculously. I had a beautiful clients that I had fine-tuned down that fed my soul and I fed theirs. But about the last year, I found myself less and less fulfilled by it because this new thing was being birthed in me. But I still had to go to work. I still had to do the thing. And so often the question can come up is, yeah, that's all well and great to, follow your curiosity and stuff. But what if you still have to do your 9-to-5 job because that hasn't changed yet. You're still in that time of transition. And what I found was that I could still set the intention at the beginning of my day that even though my physical body was doing this work, that I could still follow the divine spark. I could still follow my curiosity. I could still follow my fun, maybe in what I was listening to. Like I would set that intention because one of the perks of the job that I had was while I was cleaning, I could listen to things, right? So I would just set the intention that, that my guides, my angels, whatever you want to say, my own higher self, that would just only the highest and best things that just light me up would I be led to listen to, would pop up, would come before me. And, I got to use those 3 to 4 years to really continue to feed my curiosity and spark that growth and continue to expand, even though I might have been still doing a go to work kind of job at that point, right? So this is applicable and it's very actionable for anybody at any stage of the game that they're in. If they're still going to work every day, maybe in a job that's not what they want right now, you can still be following your curiosity and your joy in every moment. And maybe it's even within, you can make your work fun, even if it's not the ultimate job you would like to be doing. And just by setting that intention within your heart and following, like what we talked about earlier with just following that spark of energy. Like maybe you have a list of tasks, you work in an office building or whatever, and you have a list of tasks that you have to get done because while you might be trying to flow, your boss isn't. I understand those normal pressures that people can feel. And when you're out working in the everyday work world, not all of them are on this path or understand this. So you're still trying to conform within that, but you're not limited unless you think you are. And you can still set the intention throughout that day with whatever tasks that you have to get done. How can I do these tasks in the most fulfilling, fun, energetic way? You can still play with where you are. So this is all not just pie in the sky, fluffy stuff that isn't applicable. This is wherever you are in whatever situation you're in, you can start with this awareness, this new awareness. And then as you do that, you will start to shift the physical part gradually as well.
Very true. And guys, this is a perfect example of Katrina's Open Head Center. So all of that wisdom that she just poured out onto us. Thank you, by the way, dear.
You're welcome. Thank you for giving me a platform to do so.
You are very welcome. But that came from her Open Head Center. So our open centers, our openness is where we take in and give out energy. So through that, she was able to realize by having that experience what things were inspiring to her, what things fed her soul, and what things didn't. And now you're able to articulate that to others,
Mm-hmm.
which is a great benefit because client working coaching clients, okay, here, what feeds you?
Mm.
What versus what drains you? And I can totally relate to that in the 9 to 5. When I was there, I would listen to the lectures of phase 2 in our community. I would listen to human design stuff. I would
Mm-hmm.
find different things and way I could bring those, incorporate those things into the work that I was doing so that I could make it more fulfilling and feed my soul.
Right.
And always, guys, always, every single time without fail, after I did that, or during that process, some point in time, I would end up having a conversation with someone who would tell me that I told them something they needed to know that helped them make something clear that they were struggling with for a while.
Mm.
So that,
And that feeds your heart.
yes, that is what fed me.
Yeah.
So that is beautiful. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, love that. But okay, so and that goes to your brain too. Your brain is passive and according to your design. So that means is you're someone who is designed to take in information and experiences in a passive manner. You like to observe and absorb,
Mm.
and then you can respond from there.
Yes. Yeah.
And because you go deep when you are interested in following that curiosity, you go deep into it.
Yes, I do. I go in wherever I'm in. I am all in like a sponge, soaking up every drop.
Right?
But I don't stay in one camp for very long. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, like I am all in. This is where I'm supposed to be. And that's exactly, I'm observing, I'm absorbing, I'm taking in. And yeah, that's me to a T, 1,000%. And then I'm moving forward to the next little nugget that I'm supposed to receive somewhere. So yes.
Yes, I love that. And your determination, which is nervous. Now that's not anything detrimental. It just simply means that when you are digesting your life experiences, you're looking at, okay, how do I feel? And you break down all of the feelings of that experience. How did this feel? How did this feel? And not just intellectualizing the feelings, you're feeling the sensations in your body.
Mm.
So this is one of the ways that helped you learn how to connect emotion and thought. And through that, one of the key indications is that your environment, your ideal environment to help you process is kitchens that are dry. And those environments, if we look at a kitchen that's dry,
Uh-huh.
it's soft, it's subtle. There are things going on, but it's not hectic.
Mm.
So you can have like background noises, things are going on, but if it gets too much, it's going to get to a point where you're overstimulated and you don't like that. That's
Yeah.
detrimental for how you process your energy, which is very, and then your cognition is touch. You have a tactile sensitivity.
Yes, I do. You're right. That's so cool because you had said that yesterday in our conversation about what yours was taste.
Yes.
And I was like, well, what is mine? What is mine? I even thought about it last night. What is mine? And now that you say that, I'm like, that's exactly it. I got to touch and feel it. And yeah. When I'm connecting with people person to person, I'm probably going to like touch their back or touch them in some way. But even in my environment, I'm definitely very tactile. And my daughter, Casey, my youngest daughter, she's very tactile that way. And that's how I learn too. And I love to play with my food. When I'm eating it, I love to touch my food.
Yes, I love that.
Okay, so I totally get that.
And so anytime the way that this can be practical for you, anytime you get stuck in your head, find something to touch and
Okay.
then pay attention to what it lights you up when you touch it.
Mm.
And you can just hold it. So like for me, one of the things that always light me up is this thing. The moment I pick up my wand, I
Mm.
feel so energetic. And sometimes I'll even call it like this, because my taste or my cognition is taste, like Katrina just said. So right there, as soon as I put that in my mouth, my intuition lit right up. I could feel the energy rise from my stomach all the way up to my throat.
Mm.
And it's beautiful. I love it. So your environment, this kitchen is dry. So we've just talked about that environment where you can observe and then process. So when you're in a dry kitchen, say like we're making dough or something, even though yet there's flour and stuff on the table and it might be a little bit messy, it is not overwhelming, so that you can still process and move in the environment. So when you do find that, like if you ever get stuck in your head, go hang out in your kitchen. Just sit there
Mm.
and find something to touch that's dry, like some grains or cereal or anything like that. And just be in that environment and start moving around and pay close attention, because I bet that when you are touching something that lights up your intuition, you'll get like a tingling sensation in your hand. So in our physical sense, our cognition is directly tied to our intuition. So when your hands are lit up, you're also lit up with your intuition.
Mm.
I love that. And then your environment style is to observe. You need to observe and kind of take in the environment before you're able to respond. And
Yeah, that so resonates with me. I am not one to quickly react. I am definitely one that will process and observe before I respond.
yes, and that's exactly how you follow your strategy and authority, or what we've been talking about is how we use consciously our intuition. So in that area, you're able to respond, and in that response, you're like, hey, I do have the energy for this. And then no matter what the situation is, whether it's up, down, left, right, anyway, you know that you'll have the correct energy for whatever that situation brings to you.
Mm.
And one, that's going to make the conscious mind relax, so it's not going to be ruminating about stupid bullshit that doesn't even really apply.
Yeah.
You're not going to waste any mental energy. And two, it's going to make the body feel safe so that you're able to be fluid in the environment. Because in order for that flow state to be expressed, the body needs to be relaxed and feel safe. Beautiful. Love that.
Mm.
So that is your physical design. Now we're going to go on to the mind.
Okay.
So your mind is strategic, focused, and intentional in how you approach your life. So, like going back to when you were talking about how your clients, you would go clean for them, you were very intentional when you did that. Now, when you said you'd go in a flow state, and you flow with whatever, yes, that was your intention. You set up that intention. You're like, hey, this works better than just trying to go in from A to Z. So you realize that you are focused in this way, and then you use that focus to your benefit and your client's benefit. That's very, very cool. And you're driven by fulfilling your own need and those of your community. So when your community presents itself or presents you with a need, you are driven to help find that or find the solution for that need and fulfill that need. So another way that this could be applied to your channel and audience, that is ask them, hey guys, what is it that you need? Like, what is it you need help with? And then use your response, your intuition to, okay, am I aligned with this one, this one, this one? And then just follow that flow. And you will have such a tremendous amount of energy, and whatever it is that you wish to attract to you will be there. And
That's really that aligns too, because I actually just in the last week or two was actually toying with that. Like, I need to ask, I want engagement, but if I'm not asking good questions, you don't get the engagement back. And so I even put in my little dream journal that I only put like the serious, like, things that I'm creating, kind of like Andre's whiteboard.
yeah,
Um, the thing I put in there, I want to be the best at asking great questions.
I love
And
that.
drawing the answer that is within someone else out of them. And so I've actually been on this track the last week or so. How can I ask better questions. Like even when I'm on my lives and I'm with people or like creating workshops or whatever like that, instead of just talking at people, to begin to really engage in questions. So that is a very big exclamation point. I'm like, okay, that is definitely something I need to, that's tracking with me in this moment.
Love that. And one of the ways that I found that really helped me was asking my intuition some general questions and get a sense of how it lights up. Like if there's specific verbiage that lights it up versus other. And when we get down to it a little bit, when I did your branding, there's specific questions there for that purpose.
Okay.
That's very cool. And your sense is security. So you're naturally looking for things that are going to make you feel secure and stable in your surroundings. Like you said, when you and your husband first got together and eloped, you had some chairs and a box, and you were able to give yourself and make yourself secure and feel secure and safe in that moment.
That's cool.
And then you have a possible, or your perspective is, um, or your view is perspective, which means you have a focused on a possibility. You can zoom in on details while maintaining a picture. You can look at the picture or the details and the big picture, and you can do that quite easily. Someone like me sometimes struggles that. I can get lost in the details, but I'm more comfortable and easier looking at the big picture.
Mm-hmm.
And then your signature theme is satisfaction, frustration. When you go to bed at night, ask yourself if you are satisfied with your day. And guaranteed, when you are satisfied, you'll get that mm. When you're not satisfied, you'll get mm or nothing. And that will tell you, then from there, it's okay. If it is a no, how could I better direct my energy to give myself that feeling of satisfaction? Okay. Now, your food intake. So, in our human design charts guide, we have what's called our primary health system. So, a lot of what we're talking about is working with our own energy, and these energies are very subtle. They're very finite, or not finite, but easy to miss and overlook if we're not looking or paying attention for them. And the way that we do that is through our gut. We need to have good gut health in order to be able to make it easy as possible for us to feel those subtle sensations in our body. And for you, Miss Katrina, not completely silent, so like having some type of like noise in the background, just like listening to a little bit of music while you're eating. Something that's going to be a slight noise, but not overwhelming.
Mm-hmm. I do love music while we're eating. My father-in-law created that because I didn't grow up that way, and he's since transitioned, but he loved music. And when we lived with them, I told you, up on the shores of Lake Huron in Alpena, he had built this house out there, and we had a big family table. And they had taken us into their home several times when my husband lost his job, and took 4 kids in and us. But we had some of the sweetest times, but we always had family dinner together. Sue and I would make this beautiful meal. Grandpa would come home from work, Barry and the 4 kids, and we'd all be around this family table that Mark and Barry had made together. And Mark loved music, every genre. And he had an incredible stereo system. And he would always, it was just a tradition. We never had dinner that we did not have music on in the background. And it could be blues, it could be jazz, it could be, at the time it might have been worship music, whatever. He was into it all. And those were just so precious and sweet times. And we've kind of carried on that tradition most nights. If Barry and I are sitting, I'm like, let's turn on some music, because it fosters this sense of communion with each other and experience, and such a sweet memory. And so we've continued that. So saying that I'm like, yes. I've found several times when Barry and I are just sitting there and it's kind of quiet or whatever. I'm like, I don't want the TV on. I want music.
Love that. And you could experiment and play around with that with different frequencies.
Mm-hmm.
Pull up something on YouTube, and I haven't got that far in your chart yet, but when I do send you the whole thing, there's going to be a list of frequencies that are specific to your own genetics.
Okay.
Love that. That is so cool, and I'm so glad that you carry on that or that what is the word I'm looking for? Tradition
Yeah.
of music, because that is so important. And I could just see you guys sitting, in the camper, you're just hanging out, and you've got some music going on, you're just jamming out, eating your dinner, flowing with each other. That is so beautiful. I love
It
that.
is. I've really gotten into lighting a candle and just really making it a ceremony. I do think that's something that anchored our family throughout the years too. And my mother-in-law was always so good at that. Like she really they really had a gift of hospitality. And I didn't necessarily experience that. I had a loving, very loving home, but my parents are very private people and we didn't like invite a lot. My in-laws were just the opposite. And, so we created so many beautiful meals in that kitchen for the family as we sat down to that big long table. And when Mark passed, we actually, the family table went to us. And of course, since we moved out of our house, our children all wanted the only stuff that they claimed, because we gave them first dibs on everything. And we didn't have a lot of like fancy material possessions, but the only things that they all really wanted to claim was anything that was connected to Grandpa, because that's the impact that he made on their lives. Not because he was super chatty or any of those things, but they just all had their own memories, and he connected so deeply to their heart through these memories. And that family table was one of them. Like they all wanted it, but only one of them really had space for it because it's quite long. And so Toby has the family table, and that will stay in the family table and in the family, and some other things related to Mark. But music, he just passed on such a love for music. They actually, okay, you'll love this. I'm sorry if I'm dragging this on too long, but I have to share this.
Go right ahead.
Since you're from Michigan. So in northern Michigan, they have what they call house concerts during the winter. And there's a whole community of people that host house concerts, like a network for all the traveling musicians. Of course, during the summer, they have no problem with work, but during the winter, it keeps them employed, but they do house concerts. So they show up to someone's house for a night and they do a concert. And so my father-in-law had built this house was so perfect for that. And they literally opened their house once a month to the community, and they would host every month from September to April these house concerts. And they had a big hearth, fireplace with all the rock from Lake Huron.
Oh,
And it was a big open area. So like it was, exposed timbers in like a circle, and there was a loft, and then the front part. So it was all very open. There's a lot of wide open space. So the acoustics were great. And so, they would have music from all genres, could be rock and roll, could be folk, could be any of these. And so the community would come, and they might have 30, 35 people in their living room with this band. And it was so cool. And then they would always put them up for the night, and my mother-in-law would fix them food and stuff. It was so cool. So that's how much he loved music, and then sharing it with others. So he definitely instilled that in all of us. And it's such a great memory, even for my kids, that, how cool is that? You get to have a live concert right in and these were incredible musicians.
I did not know
So
that.
yeah, so there's a whole network in northern Michigan, because there's not a lot of like big places for people to go. So they just do these house concerts all throughout the winter. I mean, it doesn't matter if there's a blizzard going on. I mean, people show up there because they're used to it.
Yeah,
And
that is super
yeah, it was super cool.
cool. Love that.
He was a great man.
Oh, and one of the tips with that is embrace that and experiment with having meals environments that moderate level with a moderate level of background noise.
Okay.
So any type of music is going to be absolutely perfect for that. And you want to avoid anything that's still or silent. That's not,
Yeah,
you need,
I get that. Yeah, I definitely feel that.
and that background is going to help that energy move. Oh, I love that.
And it's so interesting because I love stillness and I love quiet. I'm not afraid to like spend quiet. But when it's coming to the meal thing, I totally get, I mean, this just so sits well with me. Like, yes, just explore that even more.
You think of it too, like listening to classical music. So for me, I know a lot of wealthier people that they're classic. They love the classic musics.
Mm-hmm.
Gentleman, him and his wife, he was a designer, a jewelry designer in New York. Beautiful. You know, his wife had a beautiful diamond ring that he designed himself. It's just absolutely gorgeous. But he would love to listen to his classical music, and then before dinner, he'd have a half a glass of scotch.
Yeah.
And he would always tell me the classical music and the scotch helped him digest his food and
Mm.
whatever experience. Because he said, when I'm eating, I I'm reflecting on my day, what I did. And he goes, that also helps me digest the information that I'm thinking about.
Mm.
And he was
That's
really the first one to turn me onto that concept.
that's cool.
Very cool. Love it. So we went over the open heart or on the open head. Aha. So now we're getting into the branding. Love it.
Can I ask before we go past the food, was there any specific foods?
No,
Okay.
no. The food that you eat isn't a doesn't matter. What does
Okay.
matter is that there is some type of light noise in the background.
Okay.
Your body
Gotcha.
is designed to eat whatever you would like, with that you have the ability to process it.
Okay.
So if you don't, so like you could eat a big greasy juicy burger, and if you don't listen to any music, that grease will set in your gut. And
Okay. So it's the music that's moving and helping the energy utilize it. Okay. That is fascinating. Okay.
love that. And just at the same instance, when you're listening to music and you eat that big greasy burger, that heaviness that would be there isn't going to be there because that energy, that music is helping the energy move.
Mm.
So love that. And that open heart.
Okay. I'm excited to get to the branding.
And anytime from your heart center, anytime you find yourself feeling like you need to prove your worth, that's bullshit. You are perfect the way you are. You have absolutely nothing to prove to. So these colors right here are the colors that represent your soul. So if we were to take you as your energetics and turn them into colors, they would be warm yellows and golds, deep blues or indigos, soft greens and earth tones, and muted reds or deep corals. So the yellows in that they reflect the vitality, the life force of the sacral. And as a generator, that's our main thing, that vital energy. And then our deep blues and the indigo represent your open head, symbolizing the open-mindedness, the inspiration, and the clarity of thought, which I feel like has been very important for you throughout your whole life, that
Mm-hmm.
clarity of thought. And then the earth tones and the soft greens help us calm the emotions and find that balance so we can make it so it's easier for us to connect emotion to thought. And then your heart center is where the muted reds and the deep corals come from. So when you're doing, like, if you're making a flyer or something, incorporating those deep reds is going to really showcase your heart centeredness. I love that. And your fonts that are going to speak to your energetics are the Merriweather, the Gromadnon. I'm not sure how Grammon? I'm not sure
Can
how.
you spell it?
Garamond.
Okay. Garamond,
Yeah,
maybe?
yeah,
Okay.
that sounds about right.
That sounds good. We'll take that.
Good. And that goes to your profile about your optimist, optor, op, ugh, opera,
Opportunistic.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
The role model, and that really helps. That font is really going to help ground that, so it'll help people see you that way.
Okay.
And then your secondary font is a sans serif font, such as Railway or Open Sans for like body text, and an elegant script for like little quotes or something that's going to make it pop a little bit, which is a dancing script, is what that font is called.
What was the middle one? Sans?
Sans script. One,
Okay.
or sans font, such as Railway, Raleway, or Open Sans.
Okay. And you said that's for more of the body.
Yeah, that's the body. So the first one was for like headings,
Okay.
and then the middle one was for the body, and then accent font, or like you can include little quotes from that
Right.
thing that's fancy, like a dancing script or
I
something
love that word, dancing script.
to it. And it's really curly. I use that a lot actually.
Okay.
I love it. It's very, I don't know, this is very fun. Images that will really resonate: natural landscapes, sunlit meadows, serene oceans, anything that's going to symbolize life force and intuitive flow. And then pictures of hands or you holding objects that resonate with you will be very powerful, because that energy from holding that object will be very, very strong and
Okay.
easily for people to pick up on. And then community and connections, depicting gatherings like you just shared with the table. Like that is a communal that was perfect and totally right up your alley. And I bet you while you were doing that and going through that experience was really, you processed so much of your life in those moments.
Mm-hmm.
I bet that really provided a lot of clarity in those moments for you.
Absolutely.
Beautiful. And then open spaces and minimalist design, which just means make sure that white space, make sure everything is easy to read and see. And wow, love that. And then some verbiage that's really going to actually, let's test this out. So I'm going to say these words, and you tell me how much they are, how well they resonate.
Okay.
Empowered by clarity, fueled by connection.
Ooh. Ooh. Empowered by clarity,
And fueled,
fueled by connection. Wow.
guided by feelings.
That lights me up.
Love it. Love it. Hmm.
Oh,
Guided by feelings, anchored in strength.
guided by feelings, anchored in strength. I love.
Navigate life with wisdom and touch.
Navigate life.
Hmm. And that would be really interesting. I just had this thought pop in my head. Having people come in to an experience of mindful touching, having
Mm.
different objects, and then teaching them how to mindfully touch those objects. It's something that I do with my kids when I teach them how to focus. I give them an orange and tell them as they're touching it, be mindful of the texture and
Mm.
what it feels like in there. And then you can engage other senses with it. What does an orange smell like? What does it hear? What does it sound like? And recreating that image in your mind as you're having that experience. That'd be beautiful. Really like that. That's very cool. And descriptive words like inspiring, grounded, adaptable, creative, nurturing, those all capture your essence.
Yes, they do. Adaptable. That has been, that definitely is me all the way.
I love that.
It annoys my daughter, my oldest daughter, to death. She's not as adaptable and it drives her crazy. We get to be the triggers for our family.
Absolutely. Feeding those open centers.
Yeah, so inspire, adaptable. What were some of the other words?
Give me 1 second. Grounded, creative,
Yes.
nurturing.
Yes. Creative, nurturing. Yes.
And then for your content themes, Share stories and insights that inspire trust and wisdom, with a focus on community, emotional depth, and authentic experience. Highlight how emotional awareness leads to a fulfillment, and how intuitive understanding brings clarity and resilience. So, like what
Okay.
you did, sharing that story of when you worked with your clients and when you guys were having around that table having dinner,
Mm.
absolutely, those resonated with me, and I know they will resonate with your audience as well.
What was that first sentence? Share stories.
And insights that inspire trust and wisdom.
Okay.
And you don't have to worry about writing all of this down, huh? Because I'm going to send all this to you when I get your chart done.
I figured, but I'm just kind of writing down the highlights that I can sit with today.
Gotcha.
But what's speaking to me that I'm definitely going to want to sit here with?
The community authentic expression, and then your verbal elements and communication. Reflect on the emotional clarity and wisdom that you embody, which you do. Feel your way through life. Trust in the waves.
That's so funny. I use that phrase all the time. I'm just feeling my way through this thing. I do. I use that phrase all the time because it's so clear to me that that's what I'm doing. I'm feeling my way through something.
I love that. That is amazing. And with these, so like, how do I feel about this thing? How do I feel my way through this thing? Would be some questions that you could ask. And then for to integrate this into your website, social medias, and any print or digital assets that you make, um,
Yeah.
balance warm and deep colors together as your primary accents. Everything, keep it minimalist. So lots of white space. Any text has got a space. Let make it easier to read. And mix the stories of personal stories relating to your emotional clarity, your cognition of touch. So one of the cool things would be like I could see like when you're out and about, you're like, oh, hey guys, check out this tree, and go up and touch it and hug it, and that connection, that feeling will be relayed through that and into the audience. Be very
Mm.
powerful. And then yet warm yet subtle color palettes, and choose photos and graphics that incorporate elements of touch and nature to ground your brand. So, one of the things, so like holding one of your favorite books in your hands, taking a picture of that, or doing a live with that would be very powerful. And that is all I got at the moment in your chart.
That's a lot. That's pretty incredible.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. Do you have any questions or any insights on it?
No, I feel like I shared a lot of insights as I was going. So, um, it's just amazing how on point
It
all
is.
that. And the incredible thing is to your audience that's listening, and then anybody that might listen to it on mine, is that we don't know each other really well. So this wasn't stuff that you just knew about me that you could just pull out. You literally just had my birthday, my birth time, and where I was
Yeah.
born.
Yeah.
And all this, which is like, there's not one thing that you shared that I would be like, eh. I mean, I just felt like it was absolutely 1,000% exactly like all the conclusions that I've come to on my own journey, and then putting an exclamation point on it. So that part is very fascinating. Like, we hardly know each other. We talked yesterday. Um, so this is pretty cool.
This is very cool. And you're right, actually. I think yesterday was actually the first day that we actually really had a conversation.
Yeah.
So,
Oh,
yeah.
very, this is so fascinating. So, and I also love how relevant it is and applicable, like that you shared it, and how I can apply it as I'm creating my business and sharing that, so that I'm really playing into my strengths and who I am.
Absolutely. In that way, because I always say this, no matter what, when we have the energy, we can give it. So if our
Mm,
cup is always empty,
yeah.
as we fill it with the energies that fill us or fill our soul, we are then able to share it so much more with our audience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And since I first met you, I always felt like no matter what, regardless of any type of business or whatever, when you come across someone that you feel you need to have a conversation with, you do. And you don't really care. It's not really so much about the money or anything like that. You just want to have that conversation.
Mm-hmm. I think that's what felt so great when I came to find phase two was that I felt like I already quantum network. I just didn't have a name for it. I've
Right?
already been living this way for a long time. And I felt like it gave me permission on a whole nother level to just completely own that and love it. There's no agenda. There's just getting to just be in the world and do what I was already doing. And now even to a greater extent, because I realize that there is so much value and meaning in it. And that I love that I get to just get to know people and be fascinated by people and serve people and love people and all of that with no agenda. And if there is some way we're going to end up serving each other in a greater capacity, it will just naturally flow. I don't have to control it. I don't have to worry about it. I'm not trying to get something from someone other than just being. And it just unleashed. If there was any little thing left that I was holding back coming into phase two and the knowledge she was sharing just pulled that tiny last little thing out and just went, whew, oh, cool. I have permission to just be myself.
Yes. Because that is what human design has taught me. Like it is okay to be you. You're literally designed to be that.
Mm-hmm.
What this is what we need from you, Katrina, for the collective. It's what we need from me. It's what we need for everybody. When we follow
Mm-hmm.
our design, everything is so much smoother, and not just for ourselves, but for everybody around us.
Yes. The
And
world is just waiting for us to own ourselves, be ourselves,
yes,
love ourselves, and share ourselves. And as we do that, we are expanding the whole collective. That is our service.
100% agree with that. I love it. And guys, you guys can do this too. Everyone has unique gifts. Everyone has unique talents, and human design literally breaks down your gifts that you are
Mm.
born with. And to put this in a maybe a more mental framework that people can understand is your ancestors that make up your energy, your DNA, didn't just give you crap. They gave you gifts too. But that
Mm.
crap keeps you distracted from seeing them.
Mm-hmm.
Your gifts are something that you do so easily, you probably don't even recognize it.
Yeah.
And by having your chart done, you'll be able to see them much more clearly. It's beautiful.
Yeah. It gives you permission to be you. And sometimes we do need that. We need that affirmation. We need that encouragement,
Right.
depending on where we're at in our journey. And so this is just incredible. I still am just marveling over how I've had people share different things, not human design, but similar things, not similar, but they'll tell me like the zodiac stuff or whatever. And parts of it resonate, but other parts are like, yeah, it's not exactly, that doesn't resonate. This 100,000% resonated on every single level. There wasn't one thing that I'd be like, eh,
Thank you for that. I
yeah.
appreciate it.
And you shared it beautifully. Absolutely beautifully.
I love that. And guys, if you need permission to be you, you have it. If you feel any connection between either Katrina or myself, we both give you permission, don't we, Katrina?
Yes.
Be
Yes.
you.
Be you. And you know what I would love to do for you, Mike? I realized I'd love to add to my link tree in my social media account. I'd love to add a link to you for people to go, like I could put a link in there of human design. And then when they click on it, it leads right to you within my link tree. And,
Absolutely.
I saw that with one of our phase two communities that they had a phase two link in in their bio, in their link tree. And I thought, oh, I want to do that. So that's kind of one of the things on my list today that I want to get to is adding that phase 2 link. But I'd love to, now that we've done this, I just want a way for people to be able to connect to you anytime. And, yeah.
You can do that.
So if you'll, yeah, send me the best way that I can link that, and I'll put that in my link tree.
Absolutely. Thank you. And now that you say that, that is a phenomenal idea. And I'd love to reflect that back to you too. So yes,
Okay.
let's do that.
Okay.
Yeah. So after we get done here, I'll shoot you that over.
Okay. And there was something else I was going to shoot to you. Oh, just for the fun of it, I want to send you the link. If you remember in our conversation yesterday about the Violet Flame and Saint Germain and all of that, I mentioned to you that I'm part of a Violet Flame fraternity.
Yes.
And I'm going to send you the link to that because I think you'd find it fascinating. And then the other thing I thought of when I was walking today that I wanted to connect you to is you definitely need to check out RJ Spina. So this is his 3rd book, but he's on YouTube. So if you just check out his YouTube and you listen to some things. So if you love Saint Germain and the Violet Flame, the best way I know to describe it is that RJ Spina is the current embodiment of Saint Germain. He would never say that exactly, but he is absolutely here to serve the collective in that capacity. And one of his past lives, if you will, was Saint Germain. And I know that that's what he's here for. And you feel it. You feel it so much. And the knowledge and wisdom that he's bringing forth is simple. And it's for this time. And so he's got 3 books right now. The first one was Supercharged Self-Healing. And he shares, because he literally healed himself of chest down paralysis. And he has a whole incredible story about that. Then he has one called Change Your Mind, which is just a lot of what we kind of already know, but it fine tunes it. And then his latest one is Access Super Consciousness. And in that, he shares a lot of magic tricks. He's not religious. He's definitely sharing esoteric, deep wisdom in a simple way. And he uses these magic tricks and the idea that meditation is not something outside of us that we're doing. Right. We are meditation. The whole point of meditation is to return us back to our original selves, right? And so there was a time when we needed long, drawn-out meditations and monks on the hill because they were holding that space for us collectively. But we are now at a time where we're shifting in an instant. And so he has these magic tricks that he talks about. And my favorite one, when you're lost in your mind, your thinking mind, your ego mind identity, the story, in a moment that can shift you back. My current favorite one is just take a deep breath and just say, I just arrived here, no past, no future. And just sit with that. And it's amazing how when you do that, you just suddenly can't think. Wow. It gets you out of your thinking mind. So all these little magic tricks help get you out of the thinking mind, which is the purpose of what we call meditation, is to get you out of the thinking mind and back to your heart and in your center. And so he's got a ton of them. That's my current favorite one. But he calls them Magick with a CK tricks, which is why when I saw Magic Mike, I was like, okay, these are all connecting things. So you definitely need to check him out. I think you'll find a lot in there that feeds your soul.
Oh, it's super interesting. I love that you said that because before we got on our call, I was watching some of your other clips and I seen the one with him. And as soon as I seen him, I went right to his website and started reading. And then I watched this video where he talks about healing himself.
Yes. And if you go to his YouTube, there's probably like 68 videos now of interviews and stuff. And I came across him probably 2.5 years ago. And when he was first just kind of coming onto the scene. And I must have watched the first, because at that point, he probably only had like 40 interviews there. And I probably watched all of 40 of those at least 4 times. just over and over, because it was like my whole insides were just screaming like, yes, yes, this is food. This is beautiful food, you know? And then I've continued to listen to more as he's on there. Of course, he does some incredible esoteric teachings and courses on his sites that are amazing. But, the free content that's just available to examine is powerful. And then again, the book, like, so all the books also have an audio version. And so, the second two, he got to do the audio. The first one he didn't, the publisher didn't let him do it. But the second two are him talking and reading it. And when you do that while reading this, it's like another whole level, because, you know, he has a vibration and a frequency. And so when you're listening to that along with the words that you're seeing, the visual, and you're feeling, it's shifting things in you just like that.
And guys, from a esoteric standpoint, what Katrina's talking about is when I do that, I'll read a book that I have an author, and I'll listen to their audiobook. Sam Rossi, like we were talking about.
Yeah.
So I'll read her book while I'm listening to it. So I'm getting the mental framework through the book, and then I'm getting emotional awareness through listening to it.
Yeah.
And
for me, another step is I write. That's how it really anchors for me, is that's why I have so many notebooks, because when things are coming through, I have to write it. And then that forms a whole another level of understanding.
Yes, get it out of the head and down in the physical.
Yes. That. Yes. It's another magic trick we're all doing all the time.
Right? Magic's real. And 100%.
And this is the wand.
Right? And, you know, that's really interesting to share this story. So a while ago, like, guys, I'm a seer. So when I close my eyes, there's always images of something. And I would see this image of me in a lifetime holding the sword, charging into battle. And then I seen this image one time of me carrying the sword, and I threw it down, and then I picked up a quill. And you know what I do very well in this lifetime, guys? I am a very great poet. I'm a word.
You are. I read your poetry you posted in the community, and it was incredible.
Thank you. So in that essence, guys, the pen is mightier than the sword.
It is.
I love that.
Yeah. It really is such a magic wand, because it's not just taking out of our head, it's taking it from an invisible realm where something's there and being birthed. And we take the pen and we put it to paper and bring it forward into the physical realm. And that's the first step of creation, is writing it. We're literally now brought it into the physical realm. And that is the beginning point of the physical creation of the thing that was here, you know, out here in the ethers, and now is coming forth. And we are the conduit for that.
That is amazing and quite powerful. Like, really. So guys, when we look, Katrina just said, she just gave us a great pearl of wisdom. So taking nothing, the unconscious, and turning it conscious by writing it down. That is beautiful. So write down your thoughts, write down your feelings, write down your goals, right? What's here, get it out.
Yeah. And the beautiful thing is, once you start that process, you don't judge it. You just, whatever you need to start writing, just start writing it. Like you said, if it's, I will write down maybe a thought that I don't want to forget, something you said or something I heard someone say, or maybe I start the morning with I always start the morning in my journaling with a thank you, and I just start writing appreciation and that feeling. And it's amazing to me that, and the more you do it, the easier this flow happens. But without even realizing it, it goes from something conscious that you're writing like that may not feel like anything, and then suddenly there's just a flow of revelation and understanding and wisdom, and you can ask any questions in that. You just, it's so powerful, and we all possess this. Isn't unique to one person.
Right, and that's what I really think is so amazing to me, is that we can literally answer any question that we could ever ask.
Yeah. Everything we need is right inside of us.
Yes.
everything, every answer to every question. The question comes from within and the answer is there as well. And we may create people outside of us to help us with that answer, but it's still always coming from within.
Right. And this is the way that I look at it. The conversation that me and Katrina are having right now, we created each other so
Mm-hmm.
that A, we could bring this information and this energy to you, the
Mm-hmm.
collective. And so, and B, that we're dancing right now. Our energies are dancing, and
Yeah.
we're expanding each other's consciousness, which at a soul level is what feeds us.
Mm-hmm. And it's so much more fun to have a conversation than just to speak by myself. Like I can get on and say a bunch of stuff, but it's like even in my lives, you know, I do divine conversations, but I also get on live and just share things that are bubbling up, you know, in my soul. And when it's a completely different feeling when I'm on live, and I've had a few times where nobody joined, but most of the time people join in and I feel it almost instantly. And we begin to have even, you know, they might add something to what I'm sharing or whatever. And it becomes this bouncing off and it's just up leveled,
Yeah.
you know, so it is, these conversations are so much more fun than just conversing with ourselves.
I totally get that too, because
Yeah.
I was by myself too, and I'm like, okay, that was fun, and yeah, needed to get that out there. But it's conversations that's doing like this that really light me up and that I love.
Yeah, and it sparks. It
Yeah,
sparks. Like I don't have to remember everything that I want to say because
right.
I'm just sharing whatever is bubbling up and then that sparks something in you and you share what's bubbling up and then well that sparks something completely.
And we get that back and forth go. I love that.
Yes, yeah. And
Very
in that we're really tapping into the flow that we are in the heart. So the stuff that's coming up isn't memorized head knowledge. It's truly flowing out from the heart, which is
right.
words of life.
Yes, and all that heart centered. Like one of the um, books or lead magnets I'm working on is heart centered marketing for spiritual coaches. Like
Ooh,
I didn't like feeling, telling to go, create that sense of scarcity and urgency. I hate
right.
that.
Well,
Yeah.
it's a phase one marketing idea.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
what does phase two marketing look like?
Heart-centered, where you're just pouring out from the heart. Hey guys,
Mm-hmm.
feeling frustrated? Here's how you do this step by step. Here's how
Mm-hmm.
you do this. Here, let's make this connection. And by really serving the people, they see that we care. They see
Yeah.
that we generally are able to help them solve whatever the problem they're looking at. And that makes it so much more connection and easier. And the sales, then you don't have to sell. They're
Right.
willing. They're standing there with their credit card out. Here, take my money.
Yeah.
They
Oh, and
know
I
that.
also have to wonder, you know, because I've been exploring this idea inside my head, like what does it look like? Because I can't do the old. So what does it look like moving forward? Of course, I've just followed just being myself. I think that's part of phase two marketing is just being yourself, just being your authentic self. But I also wonder maybe in phase two marketing, we really aren't solving any problem. We're sparking curiosity. We're inspiring who they already know they are. And then that just draws them in. It's like, you know what I'm saying? Because I think about like a lot of what the phase two stuff that has been shared or things that I've been drawn to. It wasn't always because I had a question or I had a problem. It was because I just felt the energy and it was bringing an exclamation point to something I already knew about myself, or it's someone they're pointing me back to myself, you know, and so I want to feed there for a while. Like they don't even have to be solving a problem. I just find that feeding me. And so I want to be there. And so I'm still, yeah. So I love this idea of like more of a heart centered, a heart based marketing where you're
That's
just being you and you're teaching people how to be themselves. You're giving them permission to be themselves. And like you said, I think people come out of the woodwork for that.
absolutely, because it's like you said, it's what really feeds the soul. And
Mm-hmm.
when I was creating the book last night, I incorporate a lot of what I learned in phase two. And I love the way that you just said that, because that was part of this thing that I was struggling when I made it last night. It was, okay, what problem are we solving? I'm like, well, there's no problem, guys.
Right.
Problems don't exist. Any problem that exists automatically has a solution in its opposite. So you figure out
Hmm.
whatever's negative, that's the solution. Boom.
And
There's no,
it's just a story.
yeah,
And if we're teaching people that, then we've got to come at it from a completely different point of view and understanding, okay, the starting point isn't that you have this terrible problem. And it's important for you to feel the pain of your problem. Like, no, I don't want you to feel the pain of your problem. I want you to realize that in a moment you can let go of that story and be here. So let's not even start at that starting point. So it's so upside down and topsy turvy. I mean, we're feeling our way through what this new way of serving one another and marketing, if you will. A lot of phase one marketing is playing on people's emotions, on their pain. It's manipulative, and it can be, it can be very manipulating. And that's not where we want to come from in this place. We want to serve honestly from our hearts and know that we can just keep making things better and better and better.
absolutely. And in that too, like when we serve from the heart, we have all of that energy. So like there's no heaviness to it that's draining.
Mm-hmm.
It's just
Yeah.
boom, 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 and it's easy. It's effortless. That's a
It
big
is
thing.
effortless, and there's always more.
Yeah.
Uh, one of the clips that I got to post the other day from Jerome Shaw, who is a dear friend that actually I've quantum networked with, and he reached out to me a long time ago. We actually did our first divine conversation together, and I was so blessed. I woke up one day and he had sent me this private message and then had posted this testimonial of him. I was so shocked. He's like telling this lady about this woman Katrina that he met and had this conversation with, and everything that came up during our divine conversation apparently was like fire to his soul. And he ended up, from something that I said that had to do with it, and I hadn't pre-thought about it. It just came out in our conversation.
Right.
I know when it's that word, and it had to do with like, there's no end to the creativity. Like, you don't have to stop at a certain point. You just keep writing it. Why do we think there's an end? Anyways, that really sparked something in him. And since our last divine conversation, he wound up writing 5 books in the last 4 months that are already printed and ready to go on Amazon, a whole fictional series. And they're really cool. And so he's like, I can't stop it. He's like, it's just more is pouring out. He's like, that reached into my DNA and shifted something so powerfully. It was just like the right word in the right moment, and it shifted everything and unleashed it. And it wasn't anything pre-thought. It was just the result of a divine conversation, a heart-to-heart conversation. And that popped up was what he needed to help him. Him sharing that with me was like, oh, wow, that was a really good word. Like, there
Right.
isn't any limit. Why we think there isn't any limit. The creative process just continues to go and go and go and go as long as we remain open and want it.
It's that simple. And
Mm-hmm.
just be connected in that stream and realize that the only way that we ever get disconnected from it is because we choose to.
Yeah. Yep.
And
It's just our choice.
yeah, it's all our choices. And like there was someone in the group the other day that was working through a spiral and like, hey, just do something different. Do one thing
Mm.
different,
Yeah.
and you will break that loop. Because
Yes.
ego always wants to stay in loops.
Oh, that's good. Ego always wants to stay in loops. You're right.
So,
Because
and
I have found that I have stumbled into that like if I'm feeling energetically stuck in something I'm working on or whatever, that if I will just stop keeping on trying to make it happen and just like go for a walk,
mhm.
go do something else, do something that's lighting me up, like you were talking about.
And in
All of a
that,
sudden, in that, then it just all starts to flow again. It's so simple.
love it. And
Well,
earlier showed us one last thing, then we do have to wrap up. I gotta get my
yeah,
kids.
yeah. I was thinking, yeah, me too.
But earlier today, guys, while I was working on Katrina's chart, my mouse and keyboard, they're wireless, and they were not, wasn't working. You know, when I hit the keys, it wouldn't type, and it was getting me really, really super frustrated. So I stopped and went and did something different. And when I came back, I'm like, hey, it's been like 6 months since you changed the batteries. They're probably dying.
Something really simple.
I'm like, oh, hey, I changed the batteries. Everything works fine.
Yeah. I've done something similar working with an app that I was very frustrated with one day. I was just like so frustrated. And I asked myself, like, just stop. Just stop trying with this. Come back to it another day. Do something else. And when I came back to it a day or two later, it flowed easily. Wasn't a problem. And, yeah. So that's a great thing. That's a great way for us to wrap this up.
Yes, it is.
We've given a lot of good juicy nuggets today.
Was. I love this. Thank you so much, Katrina, for coming
Yes.
and being here. And why don't you share with us where we can find you again?
Simple raw consciousness on and Instagram's mainly where I'm at, but I've also got a YouTube channel that I share things on. Those are my main two. I play a little round on TikTok, but I don't do a lot there. Instagram's really my main thing, and then YouTube.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you so much again for coming on, and I so appreciate you. Have a great.
Yes, I so appreciate you too. Thank you so much, Mike. And this has been awesome. Look forward to lots more co-creation together.
Absolutely. Love it.
All right. Have a blessed day, and everybody that's joined us.
You too, hon. And guys,
Okay.
we'll catch you later. Bye.
Bye-bye.